What's going on, everybody? It's just another day in the kitchen, back with another episode, and in today's video we're taking an updated look at none other than King Vamp, aka Playboi Carti. Now, in addition to some updates surrounding his new album I Am Music, we're also going to be creating our own album merch. That's right, instead of waiting for him to drop, we're going to be doing it ourselves. Now, it was only over the last 24 hours or so that Carti decided to bless us and dropped a new single titled 2024, which I personally love and I think the beat goes crazy. If you agree, let me know in the comments. Now, personally, it's been quite a few years since I met Carti, and if you'd like to see and hear about that story, as well as see some dope footage from his first tour as well as the merch surrounding that one, I'll go ahead and link this one in the description, and while you're here, you might as well go ahead and drop a like and subscribe, and join the free Discord as well. Now, like I mentioned earlier in this video, we're going to be using AI to actually design our own Playboi Carti I Am Music merch. That's right, that image right there is what AI apparently predicts Playboi Carti is supposed to look like, and if you didn't notice, he's wearing a tee that says I Am Music. I think that's pretty ironic and honestly a little creepy, so I'm excited to take a look at what else the AI spits out with you guys a little bit later in this video. Now, if you've been paying attention to Carti at all over the last week or so, he's been very active, popping out at Kanye West's listening party in Miami, and even blessing us with 2 new singles. And although I am excited and happy that we did get some new Carti music after such a long wait, I am still impatient. And if you can't tell from my YouTube channel, I'm the merch guy, so I decided to take things into my own hands and hop on AI over here. Now, I'm not too familiar with how it works, but from YouTube videos, I saw that you could pretty much just type in what you'd like to see. So to start off, this is what AI claims Playboi Carti looks like in 2024. As you can tell, the likeness is kind of there, and I would even say that he almost looks a little bit like LaFlame, don't fight me, but I thought that this would be an interesting test to see just what the AI thought. And if you'd like to use this Midjourney AI tool in the future yourself, I'll go ahead and drop the link in the description. It's actually free, and no, this isn't sponsored, but I'd love to go ahead and share this if you guys are interested. Now, next up, I of course was curious what AI thought the I Am Music album would look like, and here we go. From my first impression, honestly, it reminds me of something reminiscent of Playboi Carti during that self-titled era from like 2016, 2017, given the hair length and just the overall aesthetic. Honestly, I don't think that this would be a bad album cover, just not during this current era of Carti, given the whole dark aesthetic and the vampire vibes, if you could get what I'm saying, because I think this one would definitely clash. And again, I can honestly see this being used as some kind of an album cover if it were like an experimental album, or it reminds me of something that like A$AP Rocky would have used during like the experimental LSD era. If you can get what I'm saying, let me know in the comments. Now, next up, I decided to do Playboi Carti Opium, which, of course, if you're familiar to Carti, is the name of his label, and the overall aesthetic to the whole vibe and wave right now. However, I think it's safe to say, comparing this artwork to the overall punk and death metal and black metal aesthetic that we've got going on with Carti and the rest of the Opium label, this one definitely doesn't fit. And I could see this same kind of album cover aesthetic being used during that 2018 era of Carti that saw the use of like butterflies and just overall kind of lighter colors and tones. Now, to follow up Playboi Carti Opium, naturally I was curious what his label mates would look like, so I decided to type in Playboi Carti, Destroylonely, and Kencarson, who, in my opinion, has one of the albums of the year with his album A Great Chaos. What I was expecting the AI to do was to populate all 3 of them, but instead it looks like it combined them to create one super opium soldier. Honestly, I would be super curious to hear what the 3 of them would sound like, and I'm hoping that we get to hear all 3 of them on Carti's upcoming album on one track or more. Now, personally, I think that this image is kind of hard, and I like the overall aesthetic of it. And after using AI to see what Carti and the label look like, I was curious what the merch would look like. I decided to type in Playboi Carti wearing his I Am Music merch, and as you can see, it populates this image of him wearing some kind of tee that features it. And although the black shirt is definitely spot on for Carti, I think the rest of the overall fit is a little bit dated, and I think it's interesting that they're not making him look like a vampire or anything else like that. And if you've been following the latest Carti news, I'm sure you've seen him hanging out with Kanye and also know that his collab album with Ty Dolla $ign titled Vultures is coming up soon. Now, Kanye decided to drop the Vultures merch and I wasn't too happy about it, so I was curious what the AI would spit out. My first impression is that the whole vibe and aesthetic reminds me of none other than the king of merch, aka Travis Scott, and his merch release surrounding his second album, Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight. Now if you'd like a closer look at that and to know just what I'm talking about, I'll go ahead and also link that in the description. And I feel like I have an episode for everything, but it's honestly just to help bring the point home. And something that I thought was interesting while playing with AI is that throughout the video, you could tell that although the likeness kind of resembled Carti, it wasn't exactly him. While I was testing and researching this video, I decided to see what Kanye would look like, and I thought it was interesting that he actually looked pretty similar to himself. And of course, I couldn't leave LaFlame hanging, so I decided to see what Travis Scott would look like, and I'd say he even looks pretty similar. Although his facial features are not the most accurate, most of the time you can't see what Travis's face looks like because he looks down in his photos anyway, so I'd say this is about as close as it'll get. Overall, this is my first experience using AI, and for those of you that aren't familiar, it is of course artificial intelligence, and I'd say that it's pretty interesting. Now, as far as any other official merch updates, I do want to point out that recently Playboi Carti gifted an Atlanta artist named TG Hellraiser or L5 on Instagram this narcissist branded merch, which honestly is pretty hard. I'm not so sure if we're exactly out of that era, however, I would like to see that piece in the future, and honestly, I can't get enough of that whole black metal branding if you couldn't tell. Another thing I wanted to point out for those of you that haven't already seen it is that it looks like the logo is stitched and raised, which is honestly an indication it's a little bit higher quality, and personally I think it looks pretty sick. The artist that ended up getting that care package ended up posting this fit pic themselves, which although definitely has that little opium aesthetic to it with the effects, honestly is pretty damn hard and I can't get enough of it, and I would love to see this officially drop. Now, like I mentioned, Carti has been messing with Kanye over the last couple of weeks and has been active on Instagram, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get to see some more movement and collaboration between the two in the future. And I feel like it's really anyone's guess when it comes to what the overall aesthetic and vibe is going to be for this new Carti era. He's still got his black nails painted, and it looks like he's still got an overall goth and grunge aesthetic despite the deep voice and the return to the Atlanta roots. All I know is it's been a long time since a Carti release, and I have high hopes for I Am Music. Now with that being said, I wouldn't be surprised if we get the release of this album this upcoming January, given all the hype and the momentum. As soon as we do get some more updates in regards to merch, I'll of course be following up with a new video, and I'd love to know what you guys think about this one overall. Like I said, Carti decided to drop 2 new singles, both 2024 and You're the Moon, and I'd love to know what you guys think about it in this new direction. Personally, I love it and I can't wait to hear what we've got in the future from King Vamp over here. Like I mentioned earlier, Kanye has also been wilding out, and one of my best videos is this one right here where I explain the controversy surrounding the new album, so I'll go ahead and link that in the description if you guys would like to see that one. Now to wrap up this video, I'd love to know what your guys' overall thoughts are and how excited you are for either of these albums. As always, thank you guys so much for checking out these videos, and let me know what you'd like to see me cover next. Please remember to stay safe out there, and as always guys, remember, it's lit, straight up, and peace. And don't forget to join the free Discord.